Have you ever wondered why sometimes you make decisions very quickly, in just a split second, like when choosing a meal, but other times you take a long time to consider, like when investing in finances or buying a house? Why is there such a difference? It's because our brain processes information in two different ways. One that's fast, automatic, and instinctive, and another that's slower and more analytical. Based on the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, an American-Israeli psychologist who won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2002 for his groundbreaking research in behavioral economics. His work has changed how we understand thinking, emotions, and decision-making. In Thinking Fast and Slow, Kahneman presents one of the most influential works on how humans process information and assess situations. Today's video will help you better understand how the brain makes decisions and provide practical methods to help you make more accurate decisions in work and life. First, we need to understand that our brain has two ways of thinking. One is fast, automatic, and instinctive, called fast thinking, and the other is slow, analytical, and energy-consuming, called slow thinking. Fast thinking is known as System 1, while slow thinking is called System 2. System 1, or fast thinking, is the way our brain operates automatically, using intuition without deep analysis. It helps us make quick decisions in familiar situations. For example, when you're driving and the traffic light turns red, you hit the brakes immediately without needing to think about it. That's System 1 in action. It reacts quickly based on what you've learned and remembered. When you see a familiar face, your brain instantly recognizes the person without needing to think hard about who they are. System 1 processes this quickly, using patterns and memories that have already been formed. System 1 developed thousands of years ago when our ancestors faced survival threats in nature. They had to make instant decisions to avoid dangers, like predators or natural disasters. Thanks to this, System 1 helped them survive, and today it still functions as a quick response mechanism in our daily lives. System 1 operates based on personal experiences and habits, allowing us to handle familiar situations without much effort. For example, making coffee every morning or checking the time on your phone. All of these actions happen automatically. The biggest advantage of System 1 is that it helps us react quickly and efficiently in situations that require instant reflexes. For instance, when you see a car speeding toward you, you jump to the side immediately to avoid danger without needing to think about what to do. It's also very useful in familiar and simple situations, like when you're walking along a familiar path and don't need to think about each turn. However, System 1 has its drawbacks. Since it operates based on intuition and emotions, it can make mistakes in new or complex situations. You might quickly buy an item on sale because it seems like a great deal, only to realize later that you didn't think it through. System 1 is also prone to cognitive biases, such as focusing only on information that confirms your beliefs and ignoring contradictory data. This can lead to poor decisions. System 1 helps us process information quickly and make instant decisions, but it can easily make mistakes in complex or unfamiliar situations. That's why, in more important situations, System 2 steps in to provide a more thorough analysis. Let's explore System 2 in the next section. Unlike System 1, System 2 is slow, calculated thinking that requires effort. It is activated when you face complex situations where you need to think carefully before making a decision. System 2 comes into play when you need to make an investment decision. You have to analyze data, assess risks, and consider all factors to ensure you make the right choice. This type of thinking requires intense focus and mental effort. When you face a difficult math problem or need to create a long-term plan, System 2 helps you carefully analyze each factor, making sure everything is considered. System 2 developed to help us solve complex problems in modern society. It requires focus and logic. For example, when you're buying a house or choosing a new job, System 2 helps you analyze factors like price, location, or salary. Everything needs to be carefully thought out before making a decision. System 2 is often used when we encounter unfamiliar situations or need to consider small details, such as when reading a contract or reviewing legal terms. The biggest advantage of System 2 is that it helps us make more accurate decisions in complex situations. When you take time to analyze and think carefully, the chances of making mistakes are reduced, especially in decisions related to finances, career, or legal matters. System 2 also helps with long-term planning, allowing you to create better strategies for the future. However, System 2 has its limitations. Since it requires a lot of energy and time, continuous thinking and analysis can make you tired and stressed. That's why we cannot use System 2 for every decision in our daily lives. Moreover, when System 2 becomes fatigued, your judgment can be affected, especially if you've been focusing for too long or face many important decisions in a short period. Our brain, though very intelligent, has one characteristic. It's extremely lazy. The brain doesn't want to use a lot of energy and doesn't want to focus on complex issues. By default, the brain will choose the easiest path, which is thinking with System 1, fast and automatic. This leads to System 1, or fast thinking, dominating most of our daily decisions. However, because System 1 doesn't rely on analysis, it's prone to making serious mistakes due to cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are the thinking errors we often make when using System 1. These biases cause us to make decisions that are inaccurate or not well thought out. Here are 5 types of cognitive biases and 4 common effects of System 1 that lead you to make poor decisions. 4 common effects. 1. Anchoring effect. The anchoring effect happens when you're influenced by the initial information and use it as an anchor to make later decisions. For example, when you see a product on sale from a high original price, you might immediately think it's a great deal without carefully considering its actual value. In stock investing, you might see that stock A used to be priced at 100,000 Vietnamese dong per share, but now it's down to 70,000 Vietnamese dong per share. You might think this is a good opportunity to buy just because it's cheaper than before, without analyzing the company's financials or market trends carefully. 2. Framing effect. The framing effect happens when the way a situation is presented affects your decision, even though the actual information hasn't changed. For example, if a surgery is said to have a 90% survival rate, you'll feel more reassured than if you're told there is a 10% chance of death, even though both numbers are the same. 3. Halo effect. The halo effect occurs when a standout characteristic of a person or thing makes you incorrectly judge their other qualities. For example, when you see someone dressed elegantly, you might automatically think they are smart and successful, even though you know nothing about them. 4th, pattern recognition effect. Humans tend to recognize patterns in unrelated or random events, leading them to make decisions based on imaginary patterns. For example, if you notice a short-term price rise in a stock, you might think it's a sign of long-term growth, even though there's no solid evidence. 5 common cognitive biases. 1. Confirmation. Confirmation bias occurs when you only seek out and accept information that aligns with your existing beliefs while ignoring conflicting information. This makes it easy to make mistakes in decision-making because you're not considering all perspectives. For example, if you believe stock B will rise in value soon, you only read articles, watch videos, or listen to advice that supports your view. Even if there are analyses showing the company is facing financial trouble, you'll tend to ignore or dismiss them. This can lead to poor decision-making because you're not getting the full picture. 2. Availability heuristic. The availability heuristic happens when we rely on memorable or recent events to judge the level of risk. For example, if you recently heard about a plane crash, you might feel more anxious about flying, even though the odds of a crash are very low. 3. Optimism. Optimism. Bias is when people tend to underestimate risks and are overly optimistic about their chances of success. For example, when starting a business, you may be overly optimistic that it will succeed, even though many risks haven't been fully considered. 4th, law of small numbers. This bias occurs when people make conclusions based on a small set of data, which is not enough to represent the whole situation. For example, if a small group of students at a school has very high grades, you might quickly conclude that the school has great educational quality without looking at broader data. 5. Present bias. Present bias is the tendency to prefer short-term rewards over long-term benefits. For example, you might choose to spend money now instead of investing and saving for the future, even though you know that investing would bring greater benefits in the long run. How to avoid cognitive biases. We often think we understand the world well, but in reality, we tend to overestimate our ability to perceive things accurately. Cognitive biases, like the anchoring effect or confirmation bias, lead us into mental habits that can cause mistakes. So how can we avoid these errors? Solution 1. Use System 2. When necessary, recognize when you're using System 1, fast thinking, and when you need to switch to System 2, slow thinking. In important situations, use System 2 to analyze thoroughly and make careful decisions. For example, you're considering investing in a stock that just had good news. Your System 1 might tell you this is a great opportunity, but to ensure you're making the right decision, use System 2. Analyze the company's financial reports, market trends, and any potential risk before deciding. Solution 2. Seek out opposing views. Avoid confirmation bias by seeking out opposing viewpoints. Listening to criticism helps you see the bigger picture. For example, you believe stock X will rise in value, but your colleague thinks the company is facing financial difficulties. Instead of only looking for information that supports your view, listen to your colleague's warnings and adjust your decision accordingly. Solution 3. Focus on data and objective information use. Objective data to make decisions instead of relying only on feelings or recent news. For example, you've heard that Company A's stock has risen sharply in recent days. The availability heuristic might make you think it will keep rising. However, to avoid mistakes, rely on data. Check the company's profit reports, cash flow, and financial health to determine if this trend is sustainable. Take the time to think carefully before making decisions, especially in complex situations. For example, you want to buy a house you just viewed, but excitement could lead to a quick decision. Pause and take time to analyze all the factors like location, costs, and your financial situation instead of making an immediate decision. Solution 5. Reduce overconfidence. Reduce overconfidence by thoroughly checking your assumptions and predictions. For example, you might be confident that your investment project will succeed because of favorable market predictions. However, reduce your confidence and check your assumptions. Are there any risks you haven't considered? What other factors should you examine? Solution 6. Use statistical principles and probability theory. Apply statistical principles and probability theory to make more accurate decisions. For example, you're predicting the success of an investment based on a few recent successful examples. However, the law of small numbers might make you overestimate your chances. Use probability theory and statistics to check the actual risk level. Solution 7. Prepare backup plans for the worst-case scenario. Create backup plans and prepare for worst-case scenarios to ensure you're not caught off guard if things don't go as planned. For example, you believe your investment plan will succeed, but assume it could fail. What will happen if the market crashes? Having a backup plan helps you be better prepared for unexpected situations. Solution 8. Use systematic decision-making methods. Apply systematic decision-making methods like pros and cons, analysis or structured data analysis to make more reasonable decisions. For example, when making a big decision like buying a house or investing, using a systematic method helps you consider all factors thoroughly. Create a pros and cons list and evaluate risks, expected returns, and other factors in a structured way. Solution 9. Practice meditation and critical thinking. Practice meditation or critical thinking exercises to train your focus and mental control, helping you avoid automatic reactions from System 1. For example, meditation and critical thinking help us break away from the automatic judgments of System 1. When making an important decision, practice mindfulness to think deeply and control your emotions. Decisions in life and work are not only influenced by the information we have, but also by the way we think. If we're not careful, cognitive biases can lead us to make serious mistakes. But fortunately, we can avoid these errors. By applying these solutions, you'll not only avoid cognitive mistakes, but also improve your decision-making abilities. Every decision, big or small, can become smarter and more accurate when you effectively use System 2 and control System 1. Don't let old thinking habits hold you back. Starting today, practice being mindful in your thinking and make well-considered decisions. Use both thinking systems wisely, and you'll notice a significant change in how you solve problems. And remember, every good decision starts with how we think. Think smarter, think deeper, and make better decisions.